Well, it's a new year of talk, and Savage is here to give you the unprotected talk you've come to expect. Everyone loves this unprotected talk idea. It is exciting the American talk audiences, and I'm getting answers from people who count, not the disgruntled few who put down anything anyone does. But people who matter have told me that this idea that I created and trademarked and registered and legally protected, and if you steal it, I'll sue you, unprotected talk, has caught like a storm. And what that means is we're not screening you. 855-407-2822 will get you up on the Savage Nation. And I won't know what you're talking about. I'll go out on a tightrope without any nets, and I'll counterpunch if necessary. But I'm going to do the show the way it should be done, which is that's what's exciting about talk radio. I want to get the voice of America up on the airwaves, and there's no other way to do it. If I screen your calls, you're going to screen out. We're going to screen out some of the most raw calls there are, and that's what I want. Now, let me begin with this. When I began this show 20 years ago, I had a certain viewpoint. It's now 20 years later, I have the exact same viewpoint. I'm as politically oriented the same way as I was then. Same exact way. I haven't changed my politics one iota. I've changed my delivery somewhat, because when Babe Ruth started out as a ball player, he would hit the ball and run around the bases. I was the same way. I'd hit the ball and run around the bases, and I'd be sweating at the end of 3 hours. Well, now I walk around the bases because I'm hitting them farther out of the park. I don't have to run around the bases. In other words, the trick is to say what you want to say in a way that is humorous, insightful, direct, and thought-provoking. In other words, I don't have to go out of my way to insult liberals or say it over and over again. We know what they are. We know exactly what they are. We know they're hypocrites. The number one word for liberal or progressive is a double-talking liar, hypocrite. What better example do you need than Obama spending $1,000 for a meal in Hawaii that charges $500,000 for membership? What more do you need than a phony like him, an affirmative action phony like Barack Obama, always talking the talk about the poor and the 1% and inequality and unfairness? And meanwhile, him and his wife go to the Vintage Cave in Honolulu and they order a meal that costs $1,000 with wine. How do you progressives get up in the morning and shave without cutting your own throats? But it's nothing compared to what I'm about to tell you. There's a mini scandal brewing because the vermin in the media, mainly CNN, the usual suspects, and you know who they are. I don't have to mention Wolf Blitzer and him. I don't remember. What is his name, the guy? The Woody Woodpecker of television radio. Yeah. The Woody Woodpecker of television journalism is Jake Tapper. So Woody Woodpecker, Tapper, and the others on the illegitimate left are attacking House Majority Whip Steve Scalise because many years ago he spoke to a group run by the Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke. So you say, well, he spoke with them. He spoke to them. It doesn't mean he was a Ku Klux Klan member, number one. He admitted to speaking to the group 12 years ago at a gathering of the European American Unity and Rights Organization, which is a counterpoint to the racist Southern Poverty Law Center. It's a counterpoint in some ways to the vermin on the left. I don't agree with the Ku Klux Klan. They would hate me and I hate them. But the man spoke to them 12 years ago. Now they're turning it into a big deal, demanding he step down. Now, he is the House Majority Whip. And because he's a Republican, they're digging up this dirt on him. All right, that's fair enough. That's politics. Well, let me look at this from the point of view of being a fair-minded talk show host. How about Obama's racist pastor, Jeremiah Wright, who was far worse than the Ku Klux Klan speech? Why? Why is it that Jake Tapper does not talk about Obama sitting in the church of the radical vermin communist left for 20 years? The minister, Jeremiah Wright, who cursed America's military, and the media gave Obama a pass. The media is biased. We know that. I'm not supporting the Ku Klux Klan. Who would? But why not start with Obama's relationship with Jeremiah Wright, a racist preacher? Why not go back to Obama's days as a communist and a pot-smoking college student while it was illegal? To tie a speech 12 years ago to someone today is really stretching the truth. Why don't they dig up dirt on Barack Obama or Harry Reid or Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton or Eric Holder or Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton? How come you never read any of the dirt and the dirty laundry? I'm trying to be fair about this. I'm trying to show you what's right or wrong with the media. I'm trying to show you what's right or wrong with the country. I'm trying to show you what's right or wrong with society. I'm trying to relate my thoughts in a non-hateful, dignified manner. And so the best way for me to make my point is to play for you, for your listening pleasure, so you can judge for yourself, a few little sound bites. Let's start with Barack Obama supporting his association with Reverend Wright in the first clip. Go ahead, please.
The man I met more than 20 years ago is a man who helped introduce me to my Christian faith. A man who spoke to me about our obligations to love one another, to care for the sick, and lift up the poor. He is a man who served his country as a United States Marine and who has studied and lectured at some of the finest universities and seminaries in the country.
Right, in the country. Well, okay. Well, let's see. Mussolini served in the military. Hitler served with distinction in the German military. So I don't think that that's necessarily a qualification for him not being a left-wing fascist. So let you judge for yourself is what I'm going to do. I want you to listen to Reverend Wright. This is the preacher who Mrs. and Mr. Obama sat in that church for 20 straight years. They never walked out in protest. Listen to it now.
God damn America that's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human.
Black kids wouldn't stay in their place over there behind the desk. Black kids climbed up all on them.
The government lied about inventing the HIV virus as a means of genocide against people of color.
African and African American children have a different way of learning.
God damn America!
Those children can say every word from every song on every hip-hop radio station. We bombed Hiroshima, we bombed Nagasaki, and we nuked far more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon.
God damn America!
You say, okay, he's a preacher and he's very florid with his language. But if a man who would be president would sit through that for 20 straight years, you would say either some of it rubbed off on him or he agreed with it. If I went to a house of worship and I heard a preacher saying things like that, I certainly would walk out. I wouldn't ever go back. But he apparently liked it so much he attended church. In fact, he attended church for 20 straight years, but he hasn't attended church since he became president. Because there's no Jeremiah Wright cursing America. Now, you know and I know that the only reason Obama got away with it is because of Jake Tapper, Wolf Blitzer, at the time Dan Rather, and whoever else was in the media. They gave him a pass because of the reasons we know. Why am I dredging this up? Why? Because if you're going to dredge up stuff about a Republican who gave a speech to the Ku Klux Klan 12 years ago, he wasn't a member of the Ku Klux Klan, he spoke to them 12 years ago, and they're making this into a reason that he should resign. But remember what I'm saying to you. Obama was a member of Wright's Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago for many years. He called the minister his second father. He had Reverend Wright officiate over his marriage and the baptisms of both of his children. Did you hear me? Wright's church adopted the, quote, black value system in 1981, about 7 years before Obama joined the church. And there's one reference after another to the black community, black worth ethic, and adherence to the black value system. Now, what if Representative Scalise had spoken before a group in Louisiana whose attendees vowed to a white value system or a white worth ethic or a white community? How would you feel about that? You'd feel very good about that, nor should you. So, you want to start throwing the racist words around, the racist brickbats around. Be careful. And that's my monologue for the opening of the Savage Nation. That's not the only topic I want to talk about. In fact, I don't even